This weekend is going to be the start of one of the busiest travel periods of the year, as millions will take to roads much like Route 50 here in Cambridge. That's why we spoke with the Maryland Department of Transportation about what you can do to make sure you make it to wherever you're going for Thanksgiving safely. Lakeisha says she hopes action is taken, whether it's with the city of Cambridge, Dorchester County, or the school system, to prevent what happened to her and her daughter. And she's hoping action is taken soon before it ultimately costs someone their life. As Old Trinity Church continues to celebrate their 350th anniversary, they're looking forward to continuing their legacy as being a part of American history. In Church Creek, Brian Roche, WMDT, because local matters. With the public comment period remaining open, the Blackwater Wildlife Refuge wants everyone to have their voices heard so that they can continue to protect sites like these. In Cambridge, Brian Roche, WMDT, because local matters. And if you're familiar with Cambridge, then you know what street Long Wharf Park is on, Water Street. And right now, as you can see, the street is really living up to its namesake. And as it's one of the areas that's already being impacted by the tidal flooding we're going to be seeing here in Dorchester County this weekend. I've been talking to a lot of people, and it's in fact starting to ramp up a little bit as we get into the early evening here. And a lot of people, myself included, are really taking in the fun of the Delaware State Fair. And the festivities are going to kick off very early tomorrow morning here at Jerry Boyle Park, as more than 1,500 athletes are going to be crossing the starting line here at the park as they take part in the Cambridge Ironman. And I got a chance to speak with just a few of the people who will be running and swimming throughout the city tomorrow. And the shooting we're talking about took place within the gates of the Deep Harbor community behind me here in Cambridge, in which an altercation led to that aforementioned officer-involved shooting. The body cam footage from that day has been released by the Maryland Attorney General's office. Now, before we go any further, we need to warn you that what you're about to see is graphic. People are packing the boardwalk here in Ocean City as they gather to pay their respects to those lost in the September 11th attacks 24 years ago. As motorcycles hum down the boardwalk, hundreds gathered at Ocean City's 9/11 memorial to pay their respects. And plenty of people we spoke to remember where they were on that day in 2001.
By the time I got to work, I worked up in Chevy Chase, Maryland. By the time I got there, it was all over the news, and people were in shock. They just didn't realize that could happen.
I can vividly remember hearing the screams of terror from my librarian at the time and various administrators in the school when the planes had hit the towers.
The same goes for first responders like Ocean City's Deputy Fire Chief James Jester, who sees a lot of parallels between the September 11th attacks and another day of American tragedy.
And we still celebrate, or remember, more than celebrate, Pearl Harbor Day. That's because my father instilled it in his generation as well as mine, and I need to carry that forward for 9/11.
For plenty of people, the memories will never fade away, and that's why it's important to pass these on to the next generation.
I think we always need to remember. We can't forget this.
We have individuals that are graduating college today that weren't even born when 9/11 happened. So it's my responsibility to my generation, as well as my responsibility to the next generation, to make sure that that doesn't get forgotten.
Especially as next year will mark 25 years since the attack. In Ocean City, Brian Roche, WMDT, because local matters. As we highlight teachers across Delmarva who are making a difference in their community, this month has brought us here to the Woodbridge Early Childhood Education Center, where one teacher is not only having an impact on her students, but her fellow teachers as well. We got to pay Nikki Kenefick a visit Friday morning with a little surprise for her in front of her class. Nikki is doing a lot beyond her classroom, as she also coaches the girls' basketball team at Woodbridge High and taking newer teachers under her wing.
I think it's incredibly important, especially in the first couple years, to have a mentor that they can lean on and come to in case they need anything, questions or advice, because the first couple years really do make or break as a teacher.
Nikki has been teaching for 11 years.
For me, it's all about the relationships. I love building relationships with my students and my athletes and continuing those relationships beyond just the classroom, showing up to their sporting events or showing up to things later on when they're not in my classroom anymore.
And it's clear she's going to keep making an impact in her classrooms for years to come. In Greenwood, Brian Roche, WMDT, because local matters.